So here's where I think most of us get into trouble with work in our career is we glorify it. We glorify the outcomes that we're going to get, and we glorify our identity that's associated with it. And if we can simply just realize that it's just work and we are no better than anybody else, and what we do is no perfect or nothing that's associated with it, that we are actually going to be much better off, and we're going to make much better choices with our life in our career. So I've come to realize this, that I have a tendency, and you probably do too, is that I have a tendency to glorify the things that I do. And it's simply because I put in a lot of work into something, and I think about it and I think, well, that's great, because I've put in so much work that it must be perfect, or it must be above average, or there must be something associated with it that is really good. And every time that happens, whenever I get into that mindset, I can't detach myself from that. My identity gets tied to it, and it almost becomes institutionalized. It almost becomes part of who I am and what it means to belong in that particular thing. And that sets me up for making terrible decisions, or difficult decisions that I probably should have made much further in the past, or that I can't detach myself from something. So if there's one thing that I've learned, and one thing that I can share with you that is going to help you out in your career, is to really be almost cutthroat with your own identity or the things that you're working with, and detach from what it is that you're doing, and try not to belong and associate with the identity of that particular thing, because it's going to lead you astray. It's going to take you in a direction that might not be necessarily good for you. So for me, I identify myself as an engineer, but sometimes that sort of engineering mindset might take me in the wrong direction. So I have to disassociate myself from that engineering mindset. So every time that I start thinking of myself in a certain way, or I categorize myself in a certain way, or I think about my work in a certain way as I'm so-and-so, or I'm this and that, it's going to set myself up as somewhat problematic, instead of just simply saying, I just do some work over here. So instead of viewing myself as a professor and labeling me as a professor, I do some work in this particular thing, or I'm exploring this particular thing, and I'm exploring this area right here. And it could change. Tomorrow it might be something totally different. I might change my mind and do something and study something about electronics, or study something about bugs, or study something about, I don't know, maybe it's human biology or evolution or whatever, and that is okay. And I can go in that direction, and that would be totally fine. And instead of viewing yourself as this thing, whatever that thing is, and associating with that thing, you know what? It doesn't really mean anything. It really does not. What matters is the thing that you're working on today, and what you are doing at this moment, and exploring that particular thing at this moment. And then everything that you've done until now, it doesn't really matter either. You can make that decision and cut at those particular moments where you need to cut. You can take out those 10 pages and just throw it out. It doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing at this moment, and how you view yourself at this moment, and the happiness and the joy and the amazingness that you get from working at this thing at this moment. So take the time to invest in yourself and work at this moment, but then don't label yourself as so-and-so or whatever. Label yourself as somebody that is just working, and that's it.